Good morning, good people. My name is Edward Bevilacqua. This is Department of Career Services, where our goal is to get the lighting right. Okay, maybe that's better. I don't know. White side of face, yellow side of, no. Yellow side of face, white side of face. Okay, well, good morning, Diana. So here we are once again. Today is Monday, March 3rd, 2025. It's about 6 o'clock in the morning. Here we are in southwestern Nevada. And today we have a big show, another really big shoe. This is week 2, day 1. So day 1 of week 2 in our neuroscience-oriented approach to success. We're going to be talking about neurons. Neurons. Good morning. What? Not a bevy. Strep throat, huh? I used to get strep throat once a year until I started taking emergency every day. All right. So I'm happy to report that public version number 3 of this has come out. So the first version was for school for my last class. The second was the complete one with errors. And now this is the third printing of 1 million copies. The third copy should be the one that could be used for teaching. So, cool, bonk, whatever. But today we're going to be talking about neurons. But before we do that, let's talk about why we are here. So, Diane, are you still in Portland? And how are things there? What, not a bevy? You are now in Fort Jacks. Matticus Von Atticus is off the reservation. We'll see if he shows up. Should have Matt Fisher showing up. We'll see. Blessed and beautiful. Okay, so why are we here? We are here to help our students and interested people on their journey through this life, and the life of a spirit that is occupying a body, not the other way around. We're not a body with a spirit or a spirit with a body. We're on a journey to a destination. We have a gift of being baryonic. The spirit is non-baryonic. Our body is baryonic. We're in a world, a universe that is baryonic, meaning it has subatomic particles. It's made of matter, but our essence, God is spirit. We are made in the image of God. We are spirit. We are inhabiting a body. Cool. So we're on this experience, the gift of being able to be baryonic. And what should you do with the gift? Should you squander it? Should you pass it along? What should you do? And I would argue that what you should do is honor the gift. Now, there's a parable from Jesus where the master entrusted his servants with some money to invest for him and make something of it. That is not the same. That is not our predicament. That was a bargained for exchange or a command. Here, go make something happen. Here's money. Here's 10 talents. Go make something happen. There was an expectation. We don't have an expectation. Okay, so Matticus Von Atticus is here. I won the bet. He's off the reservation, but he's still back. Okay, so we have this gift of life, this going from spirit to baryonic. And the thing would be to honor the life so that when we return to whence we came or to the next place, the opportunity to be, as Jesus said, one with the Father and I. We have the opportunity to do that. We are best prepared. So we are here to help people while they are in this state, while they have a body. And we do that in physically. We focus on the physical, the mental, the emotional, and the spiritual. So during the week, it's physical, mental, and emotional. Weekends is spiritual. Today, again, week 2, day 1, neurons, everybody. But the real magic of the podcast is the worksheet. That's the block, actually. That's the essence. That's the where's the beef. The beef is the worksheet. The podcast itself is showing up. It's community. It's seeing how we feel when we see people there. It's creating a routine, and it is repetition, 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 building better habits. Okay, on the worksheet, advice from an 80-year-old. Take charge of your attitude. Don't let someone else choose it for you. Right, you right toe. Not your left toe, it's your right toe. Seth Godin, here's a good one. Seth Godin, we are not worthy. Okay, or the highway. What's the rest of that expression? It's blank or the highway. Who's got that one? Diana, you have that one? It's blank or the highway. Tick tock. Right, my way. It's my way or the highway. Seth Godin talks about that today. Our instincts might not be as good as we hope. Going with your gut is thrilling, it's personal, vulnerable, and brave. And if it's getting you what you seek, keep at it. If your gut is doing it. But often our instincts are a way of hiding, undermined by a lack of knowledge. If you haven't done the reading and can't see what the alternatives might be, instincts might be all you have left. Right. So if you're not prepared, haven't done the work, just might be down to instinct. And if you know the best way and you persist in going with a hunch, it might be resistance, a trap put in place by the part of you that feels like an imposter and is hesitant to do too well. Right. I don't know what that sentence meant. If my way isn't helping you get to where you're going, it could be the highway is a more direct route. Right. So my way equals instincts. It's talking about not prepared, not whatever. It's talking about the instinct. It's my way. It's what I feel, or the highway. If my way isn't working, try the highway. Try what other people say. Try to do the work. All righty then. We've got that's in red letter. Darren Hardy, always good, talking about stress. Stress is not good or bad. It's the body preparing for something. What's bad is extended periods of cortisol. That's what gets us sick. So if you're sick, you're not feeling well, if you have strep throat, you might ask yourself, what's the stress I'm experiencing in my life? Because we're exposed to germs and viruses and bacteria all the time. We're exposed to things all the time. A healthy immune system fights this stuff off. Cortisol has a negative effect on our immune system. So look for the stress. Maybe it's good stress. Who knows? You know, figure it out. It's not your way. It's not, it might be the highway. Okay, so let's get to it. Neurons. Week 2, day 1, Sebastian Song. I'm not sure where he is now. He was at, I think, Princeton. Mapping the brain. This is back in the old days. This is 10 years ago, more than 10 years ago, with a machine cutting very, very thin slices of the brain and rebuilding neurons because they're so connected. He describes and shows pictures of neurons looking like trees with these branches. And parts of the branches, these dendrites, touch dendrites. They don't actually touch, but they almost touch dendrites on other neurons. And signals pass between them. Chemical signals pass between them. The chemicals are called neurotransmitters. But the point is, inside the human brain, we have cells. And we're not going to learn about it, but if the class was longer, we'd learn about. There is a particular type of cell called a neuron. And that is the one where we believe, when I say we, I mean scientists, people who study this, who do this for a living, believe that our lived past, our anticipated future, our ability to simulate, our personality, all of that stuff is stored in the neurons of our brain. That's where it is. And how do we know intuitively that that's true? How do we know? How do we know it's true? We know it's true because if our brain is damaged, if we have a stroke, those things go away. Whereas if you have your leg amputated, your lived past, anticipated future, your memories, things like that do not go away. They go away when you have brain damage. So there's good reason to believe those things are stored in the brain. And then now, well, for quite a while, Susanna Herculano has been counting the number of neurons in different brains. Showing that humans have way more neurons than other animals. And that is the explanation. Okay, so neurons. Last week we learned from Dr. Amen that the brain is the consistency of soft butter. So it's easy to damage these things. Right, so that's how many neurons are in the brain? Well, the number in Sebastian's song says about 100 billion. And that technique was done by taking small bits of the brain, saying this bit of the brain is equal to this percentage of the brain, count the neurons in there, and then do the math. Well, that wasn't really precise, so Susanna Herculano decided she would dissolve brains in a solution and then stir it up so it's evenly distributed, take a little sample of that liquid, put it under a microscope, count the number of neurons in that drop, and then multiply that drop by the amount of liquid in the whole solution, and came up with a much more precise count of the number of neurons in a brain. So, Sebastian's song is mapping how it works. And the idea is that a whole bunch of neurons connected together, operating in a sequence, enables us to do all of the things that we do, consciously and non-consciously. It's stored in our brain. And again, we believe that's true because if our brain is damaged, our ability to do things changes, goes away. And now taking that back to Dr. Amen, his thing is when the brain is damaged, the brain can easily be damaged. He talks about 5 ways: traumatic brain injury, alcohol, tobacco, something growing on your brain, and brain disease. So 5 primary ways to damage your brain, but the brain can be repaired to an extent, and that through a Brain Smart program. And this is a Brain Smart program. And today we're learning about the neurons because that's where the information is stored. So putting this in perspective with psychology classes Start with the idea of beliefs, feelings, behaviors, outcomes, etc. So we're going down below that saying, well, where do these beliefs, where do they exist? Where do these beliefs, are they out there? And the answer is no, they're in our neurons. What if we had a bad idea, bad memory? What if we had some really sophisticated laser beams, not sharks with laser beams on their head, with lasers on their head, but we had this really precise laser beam and we could zap the particular dendrites that these memories are associated with? Would that work? And the answer was it would have to work because those beliefs are stored in neurons. Just we don't have, number one, the ability to identify exactly which neurons in the brain those thoughts are connected to, and it could be more than one place. But there could be several copies of the same bad belief in our brain. And then number two, we don't have technology sophisticated enough to zap that little dendrite, not the whole neuron, because there could be a lot of good stuff on that neuron, but to zap that. And then three, there's the ethical question of, that's kind of like literally brain control. However, even though we don't have machines that can do that, we have the ability to imagine it and kind of like what's the word? We aren't going to physically erase, damage, destroy, zap that neuron. We're going to imagine that we did. We're going to disrupt that train of thought. So here, a neuroscience-oriented class, we go way below psychology. Psychology leaves it at the belief. We go below and say, where is the belief located? What is the belief made of? It's just made of ideas stored in neurons. So if we identify it as, oh, that's a belief stored in my neurons. It's not a physical reality. Where did I get that belief from? Because all I need to do is just rewire, figuratively, metaphorically rewire my neurons. That's all I have to do. And I can figure out a way to do that. So that gets back to our two questions. Who am I and why do I behave the way I am? Well, we know that my self-identity is just made up of my self-beliefs. Now, today we get my self-beliefs are just stored in the neurons in my brain. And if I change those beliefs by changing the neurons in my brain, now my self-identity changes. And boom, it's really that simple. It's like Sebastian's song has. It's like rewiring a whole bunch of computers or rewiring something to be more efficient or more effective. You might think of it as a plumbing system in your house or the electrical wires in your house, that they're all jumbled up and they keep shorting out or they keep leaking if it's pipes. And how do you, all I need to do is replace this leaky pipe or this leaky joint, fix it. So that's today. Tomorrow, we're going to be talking about neurotransmitters with Sebastian's song, and then Wednesday, the reticular activating system. So those are three parts of the brain we are going to focus on in our quest to answer the two questions. Who am I and why do I behave the way I do? And if I can answer those questions, I have the ability to dial in who I need to be right now. And who I need to be right now could be way different than who I need to be tomorrow or 10 minutes from now. Think of a basketball player, right? So right now, I'm shooting free throws. I have to focus on the hoop. 2 minutes ago or 2 minutes from now, I'm going to be running up and down the court trying to stop somebody from doing something, and my mental attitude could have to be very different. So that's it. See everyone tomorrow. Thank you all for being there. Acknowledgement.